Welcome, age of vintage society. Jane Fonda won 2 Oscars in the 1970s, rose to fame as a fitness expert in the 1980s, devoted her 1990s to humanitarian work, and has just returned to acting since 2005. However, throughout her life, she could never find a man stronger than her. Why was Jane Fonda incapable for emotional intimacy? I hope you know, my viewers, how much I appreciate you. Thank you for your generous comments and for the Patreons. This channel would not have been successful without you. Big thanks to those who watched the video right to the end. Subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Jane Fonda, a beautiful star and a strong activist. Jane Fonda, who was born to a well-known father and a mother who took her own life, survived a difficult childhood to find fame as an actor and then deeper meaning as an activist. For 4 years she attended an all-girls high school with excellent teachers and very high academic standards, which was crucial to her. She found it to be of immense help during a trying time. Her first 10 years were spent in California, where she attended school among other kids whose parents worked in the entertainment industry, including producers, directors, studio executives and cinematographers. She therefore never even considered the fact that her father was an actor. No one reacted, since it was routine. So how did she manage to make her own identity and proved herself, even more, stronger than her father? Let's find out. Jane Fonda went to the East Coast when she was 10 years old, and as soon as she arrived she noticed that others treated her differently, which made her realize that she was different. She felt a little self-conscious about it. Due to the fact that her father, Henry Fonda, was a famous actor, some people wanted to be her friends while others didn't. Both good and unpleasant things existed. Without a doubt, having a famous father helped her as an actress because people paid more attention to her than they would have if she had been just another actress. Besides that, she put in more effort because she wanted to be sure that she wasn't given the roles only because she was Henry Fonda's daughter. She would enroll in 4 classes each week rather than just 1, so that no one could accuse her of being a dilettante. She was then given the appearance of nice girl next door, due to previous roles she had played. She grabbed the opportunity to travel to France to work on a film with René Clément and escape her father's influence. Initially, acting was not a passion for Jane Fonda. She turned to acting since she was blank for what else to do. She lost her job as a secretary, and her acting coach, Lee Strasberg, told her she had potential, and that she needed to find work to support herself. She viewed it as a job, at least in her mind. She didn't become an activist till she was 30. She was pregnant, which makes a woman like a sponge incredibly receptive to what was going on around her, and a lot was going on in the world. Around that time she started to realize that she wanted to reshape her life and take part in efforts to put an end to the war. She had a little daughter, lived in France, was married to Roger Vadim, and then she left everything and moved to America to start activist work. But before that she observed so much injustice in Hollywood. We're talking about the late 1950s and early 1960s, when misogyny and objectification were prevalent in the film industry. There was no sense that you could change the situation. Life was what it was. Jane Fonda also faced it. She earned less money than her male co-stars. She was really uncomfortable for a long time, since she felt like she was constantly being judged by how she appeared. This didn't start to change until much later, with the growth of the women's movement in America. She was initially only grateful for the offers. She didn't actually use the word no in her vocabulary. She didn't understand that no is a direct explanation till 60 years. Furthermore, she lacked agency and free will for a very long period. She simply accepted any position that was handed to her. Because of that, she wasn't really satisfied with her career. She made the decision to leave the industry when she was 33 years old and a fervent activist. When she was learning how to organize with the United Auto Workers in Detroit, she shared with her friend Ken Cockrell, a black lawyer, saying, "I think I'm about to leave Hollywood. I want to work as an organizer full-time, and I don't like the roles that are being assigned to me." "Don't," he urged. "Just stop there. There are many organizers in the movement, but no movie stars. The movement requires you to continue acting and give your career more attention. After that, she made the decision to start directing her own films, the first of which was Coming Home. She really started to enjoy her profession. Her portrayal of Bree Daniels in Clute, as well as Gertie Neville's in The Dollmaker, for which she received an Emmy, ranks among her most beloved parts. She said she was a country girl. She was as dissimilar to me as a person could possibly be, and I made a lot of effort to infiltrate her reality. Along with Clute, I'm proud of that. According to Jane Fonda, women have a distinct perspective from men. Things have distinct effects on women. Women react to so many things differently, whether it is war, famine, bankruptcy, or health, and if their voices are excluded, there is a significant gap. If one part of humanity's voice is excluded and we don't hear the whole narrative, how can we comprehend the world in which we live? What is wrong with it? What is right with it? And how can we improve things? She worked at the Women's Media Centre in order to support the media's efforts to promote the voices of women. She was also worried about the youngsters' safety and the significance of teaching them about their protection and rights. As a result, she established the Georgia Campaign for Adolescent Power and Potential. The goal was to teach teenagers about how their bodies function and how to keep them healthy and safe. They must be aware of their ability to stand up and protect their bodies. Does Fonda ever experience fear? Fonda responded to this question and said, "The fear portion, I don't know why this is true, but I am very rarely scared. I've been in a variety of scenarios, including being shot at and having bombs dropped on me, yet I rarely feel scared. Maybe I'm afraid of emotional intimacy. That's where my fear dwells," she said. Every time Fonda recounts her life, she must begin with her father, Henry. He served in the Second World War and was idolized by the public as an American hero. He was the only actor who could have played both Davis, the truth-seeking juror in 12 Angry Men, and Tom Joad in The Grapes of Wrath. When the House Un-American Activities Committee hearings were on television, Fonda's father allegedly kicked in the television set, according to her autobiography. Yet, she continued, he declined to travel to Washington, D.C., where the HUAC hearing was taking place, in order to publicly defend the Hollywood 10, the writers and directors who were allegedly harbouring communist inclinations. "Does Fonda think that's odd now, given how political she is?" she said. No, he felt at ease voting his vote for the Democratic candidate since she had pledged to put an end to the war. That's what he did. I believe it was a generational issue, Fonda admitted cautiously. But she admired her father and claimed to have lived in his shadow for years. Even though Henry left her, her younger brother Peter, and their mother Frances for work and eventually for other women during her childhood, it nonetheless led to severe problems for them all. When Fonda was 12, her mother committed suicide. Henry and Jane never talked about Frances again after Henry sent his children to boarding school. Fonda struggled for most of her life to persuade her father to accept her perspective. Her anti-Vietnam War rallies in particular caused them resentment. I attempted to explain things to him. He simply could not. I informed him of the atrocities I had been learning about from soldiers who had served in Vietnam. "If you can show me that this is real, I'll lead a protest to the White House," he had declared. I then called a Green Beret in to talk to him about it, but he was still unable to. He didn't like it, she said. The Fondas play an emotionally repressed father and feisty daughter in the 1981 film On Golden Pond. In a scene where the daughter touches her father's arm, the father appears to be holding back tears and looks down. In her memoir, Fonda claimed the gesture was genuine and that her father's tears were genuine. She felt as though she was the world's luckiest person because of the fact that she was able to work on that movie with him just before he passed away. He passed away 5 months later. Only Henry Fonda won his first and last Academy Award for the movie, despite the fact that both Fondas were nominated for Oscars. In his place, Fonda accepted the award because he was unable to do so due to illness. She has described it as the happiest day of my life. The fact that Fonda and her brother Peter, as well as Peter's daughter Bridget, and Fonda and Hayden's son Troy Garrity, all pursued careers in acting, is evidence of Henry's influence. Peter passed away at 79 years old when she was questioned about their bonding. "We were really different," she claimed. "I seldom ever saw him. I had no idea that he was ill. A few weeks before he passed away, he eventually sent me an email and let me know which hospital he was in. Nearly daily I would visit, and we would frequently laugh out loud. I'm really happy that's how things turned out between us in the end. Fonda was impartial about her father, despite how much she loved him. Dad had a fascination with slim women. The only time my father ever commented on how I looked once I reached adolescence was when he thought I was too overweight, she writes in her memoir. She was taught at a young age that showing no signs of hurt or need would lead to credit for her strength. She understood this lesson so well that she didn't cry even after her mother passed away. However, pain surpasses suppression. At boarding school, Fonda began a 30-year battle with bulimia, which she was able to end in her 40s. Following her recovery from bulimia, Fonda proceeded to take up aerobics. Was she transferring her body concern from one type to another? She has previously discussed getting breast implants and a facelift. She held the opinion that if you don't look good, you won't be liked. She therefore constantly tried to look appealing. She asserts, "I believe that when you're poor you cut yourself, and when you're wealthy you get plastic surgery." In her adult life, Fonda replaced one male figure with 3 husbands. She transformed into a Brigitte Bardot-like sex kitten in the movie Barbarella, while she was dating the director Roger Vadim, who had previously been married to the actress Brigitte. She eventually left him after the birth of their daughter Vanessa. She joined Hayden at the Barricades when they were married. She traded in her off-the-grid lifestyle for that of a billionaire's wife in 1991, when she wed media magnate Ted Turner. She explains, "I always wanted to marry someone who was the total opposite of my father. I was unaware that I had chosen men who were similar to him in the important aspects because they all struggled with intimacy." According to Fonda, she and her father never discussed her mother because she was afraid of upsetting him. She also claimed that she found it difficult to communicate her emotions to her husbands. It sounds definitely rigid even if we only discuss her relationship with Turner, who planned every minute of their days months in advance. They were married from 2001 until she left him because he insisted she always be by his side. During that time, Fonda did not star in any movies. Then, from his estate in Georgia, he took her to Atlanta aboard his personal jet. He travelled back to his ranch with his new lady, who Fonda was unaware had been waiting in the airport. Fonda has previously said that she associated with strong men because she felt so insecure about herself. But isn't it more possible that she needs strong people since she possesses such a remarkable amount of character strength herself? She agrees, saying, "Oh right, I've had a pretty terrible time whenever I've been with weak men. Now that I'm 5 years older than my father was when he passed away, I've come to the conclusion that I am actually stronger than he was. I'm stronger than every husband I've ever had." Her narrative frequently mentions how, due to her disease to please, she let her marriages influence her too much. Another way to look at it is that she is incredibly receptive to new things. With Vadim she learned about love, with Hayden she learned about activism in the 1970s, and with Turner she learned about the wealthy lifestyle of the new 1990s elite. "Oh, it's the most exciting thing in the world to keep learning." She claims that one of my guiding principles is that to be interested is more significant than being interesting. It's great that I still have the feeling of being a student. While talking about other things that make her happy, she once mentioned that she would like to construct a little cabin for herself that is completely off the grid. "I want chickens because I adore them, as well as rabbits, my dogs, Silence. It should have trees and be located at the top of a mountain, and even though I don't think my writing is good enough, I still want to write my final book to have an impact." Even though her surprising, honest and beautifully written book, My Life So Far, is full of universal insights into the individual struggles of women leading full and purposeful lives, we can still expect a lot more from this amazing woman. Jane Fonda wanted to avoid using her father's help in her career at all costs. But not everyone is so dismissive. How Ginger Rogers and Lucille Ball made Ann Miller a star. Watch this video.